For years, I would walk up to a wall that was right here, dreaming of what Galaxy's Edge was going to be like on the other side of that wall. And I was not let down because this is an absolute theme park design marvel. Right here in the tunnel is the only John Williams music we're going to hear while we journey through Batuu. John Williams wrote this for this land. It's an original score. And that's it. We have just transformed into Batuu, a planet that's on the outer rim. Everybody's here, is here for a purpose, to escape, to get away. And so now what do we hear is just the soundscape all around us. And so to really tell the story of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, they went with a soundscape, not a soundtrack. Very controversial in the world of Disney parks. I think it's absolute genius. Genius was lost on a lot of people. But Avengers Campus, where they continuously play a 17-minute Marvel loop behind you, you feel like you're in the credits of a Marvel movie. But here, you can't actually feel like you're living inside of Star Wars because there's the hum of the machines behind us. There's Kylo Ren and 2 Stormtroopers on the other side of this planter. Just listen to the hum that's going on behind us. And as we go into different pockets of the land, we'll hear flight control mission statements. We'll hear radio stations, talk radio, and that makes it feel so much more real, I think, than just hearing, the Star Wars theme song every 12 and a half minutes. Keep it moving. So to keep everything consistent and to make sure that every Stormtrooper sounds like a Stormtrooper, and every, Kylo Ren sounds like Kylo Ren. They use pre-recorded sequences. They don't use the actor's voice. And they do a really good job of not making you realize that essentially those characters are almost like puppeteers for themselves. If you notice, every single time they talk to you, they use hand commands. And from the way that it's been explained to me from a cast member, is that one hand sort of shoots off the sequence, and then the other hand allows you to go through what you're trying to say. So there's like a bed of drops for a young child or an adult. It looks like the left hand goes through and gets them into the bed of sequences they have, and then the right hand is used to trigger the one that they want to do. So in real time as they're talking to you, they approach you, they determine what kind of conversation you want to have, and almost like on a motorcycle, they put it in the right gear, and then they go, "You, come with me. I have something I want to say to you." And it's a mixture of this is the push play, and this is select your track. And they do it so flawlessly with the blaster in their hand, or with Kylo being very, very poetic with it. And it's one of the best magic tricks that they ever figured out. So every Stormtrooper sounds like a Stormtrooper, and every Kylo sounds like Kylo. Fantastic. So Star Wars Galaxy's Edge is divided into 3 different districts, because 3 is the magic number when it comes to Star Wars. Because if you think about it, every movie has 3 acts, and Star Wars is 3 different trilogies. So the land is divided up into 3 different sections. We are in the First Order section. There is also where the villagers live in the middle, and then there is the Resistance on the far side. And because we don't have a uniform Star Wars soundtrack that plays over the entire land, or when you walk into one area of the land, it placates to one of those 3 types of characters, we just have a soundscape. So it's a little bit more blurry where one story starts and finishes. But they did a tremendous job of hiding all the speakers. You will not see a speaker while you're in here. But when a transport ship flies over us, the way that the speakers are all set up for that spaceship to start over the horizon and literally work its way through, it's so real. It's such a great texture to the park. And if that was happening in conjunction with the Ballad of Yoda playing, it just wouldn't be the same. And it's funny, people that aren't familiar with Disneyland might notice why is this guy kind of apologetic for loving Star Wars and Galaxy's Edge? It's because nobody hates Star Wars more than Star Wars fans, and nobody hates Disney more than Disney fans. So you take those 2 hyper-aware groups and you put them together, and this is not a very popular land, which blows my mind because aesthetically, if you look around it, this is one of the greatest theme park accomplishments. However, most people judge everything based on rides, and it is not the most ride-friendly land. However, I'm the vibes guy, and it is the most vibes-friendly land.
I think that these little boxes right up here, hanging out on the side, if I can put that on, yeah, right here, I think is the speaker. Just a second ago, I heard just a whomp right over our heads.
Yeah.
Which was super cool.
Yeah, you'll hear those periodically, random. It doesn't happen all the time. And yeah, just like Main Street, all the speakers are hidden behind grates. They're in really cleverly disguised.
Here comes one. Sounds like it went this way, kind of in that direction.
So that particular one, like clipped the outskirts of the land.
Right.
It didn't actually go over it. So they even sound like they're doing different directional flights. The way that the human brain works is you recognize patterns. So if it always went from left to right, you would not be that enthralled by it. But the fact that it's very random, the flight paths, it does make us feel like we're inside of a spaceport. The only thing that is pre-calculated here is that if you pull out your iPhone, and you play some of the different little like puzzle games, the guest does have the ability to trigger audio sequences. So there are some things that you'll hear that feels very randomized, but somebody somewhere around you just completed a quest, and that quest unlocked what we get to hear.
Oh,
so that's
cool.
a really cool way of using sound as an interactive moment.
And have that hyper-personalization of kind of controlling the environment.
Yeah, like I made mist come out of the bottom of the Millennium Falcon. How cool is that? You know what I mean? Like I triggered a radio station that everybody's listening to. Like just, phenomenal way of like adding so many different ways to live your own Star Wars adventure inside of this land. One of the craziest things they did with Galaxy's Edge is they decided to put a bar inside of Disneyland and Disney's Hollywood Studios. You can find this land on both coasts. The only difference is a little bit of the layout's different, and Orlando's is painted much darker than ours. So what you hear right now is the music that's playing inside of Oga's Cantina, right? Like we feel like we're in an entertainment district. We can hear the music playing. We're now in that second act. This is where the citizens of Batuu live. It's not a region that's like dominant by one sect or the other. But here's the beauty of it. The music that we're hearing that's playing inside of Oga's, it's not really the music that's playing inside of Oga's. That's this really catchy hook that is mixed very bass heavy, and it sounds like music playing in another area. But if we were to go in there right now, where DJ Rex is entertaining the crowds, I guarantee you, DJ Rex is not playing what we're hearing on the outside. So it's just one of those fun things of like, the way that they mix the sound adds so much storytelling to where we're at.
Yeah, I just hear like subwoofers thumping somewhere.
Yeah.
No idea where.
I think all of those speakers are on top of the building, just kind of like facing up.
Oh, okay.
So it's a non-directional like sound. Like for example, if you do a VIP tour at Walt Disney World, when you go to Animal Kingdom, they take you in the backside of where Pandora is. And the first thing that you see is all of these speakers facing the parking lot. And all of those speakers that are facing the parking lot is the sound of animals, trees breaking. It's the entire soundscape for the Pandora. And the reason why they have the speakers facing the parking lot is that when you get on the other side of those speakers inside the land, it makes the sound more ambient. It's not pointed at you, it just feels like something that's happening off in the distance. Not only do they think about how they mix the sound, but how the speakers are pointed and how we consume the sound. So I do wish they played this song on the inside though, because the hook is so good that I'm like, I kind of really want to hear just this song, and it doesn't exist. One of the things that makes fall in love with the Disney parks so fun as a designer is you just always discover these fun, goofy little things that are hidden right in front of your eyes. So if we look at the backside of Oga's Cantina or the front side, I want the audience right now, look at the roof line. Now look at the blue banner that's hanging down. Move your eyes across at the two circles that look like a logo stamped inside of the concrete. And now look at the awning that's in front of the generator. Now if you look at it all together, that is a ginormous hidden Donald. There's hidden Mickeys everywhere, but that's the only hidden Donald that I know, and it's by far way bigger than most hidden Mickeys.
This is controlling my life. How am I ever going to get these meats roasted in time?
Welcome to Ronto Roasters, AKA world's most elaborate hot dog stand. Basically, they just sell sausages here, served in a Star Wars way on a pita and different accoutrements than what you're used to. But the story here is that all the Ronto meat is being roasted on an old pod engine. So the pod engine lets off like that misting sound of the heat being dispersed to cook all the meat. And then you have this poor little guy over here, this little droid, who's just manually turning all this. And you wonder, with this kind of technology, why would you need a droid to manually turn all of this stuff? But like any good worker, he loves to complain and tell his story. It's just one of those little vignettes that, like, while you're waiting in line, you may capture him complaining or talking about his day. Just like a fun little glimpse if you catch it. So one of the things that you'll notice about this shopping area that we're in, this is a lot of what I talk about on my YouTube channel, is that this shopping area that we're in, it's shaped like a macaroni elbow. There's a bend in the road. And what that bend in the road does is it creates a way where you can't actually look through the shops. So when you first start walking through the shops, you see a perceived dead end, which therefore it tells you that it goes on forever. But it's just a simple bend in the road that makes from two different directions it feel like it goes on forever. So if you look this way, you just get the idea of exploration. And if you look this way, you get the idea of exploration. But what you don't get is the view all the way through. Simple land management. Take a small piece of land, turn the guests so many different ways that every turn feels like an adventure and every turn brings them further into the story. That is amazing design. We're kind of in the center act of Galaxy's Edge. And one of the things that you hear in this area is lots of radio programming. This middle act is where the locals live in the Black Spire. So if you think about it like our world, retail on the bottom, residential on the top floor. Up here, there's a radio station that plays. And not only does it play music, but sometimes I'll walk through here at night and there'll be a full-on like talk radio show that's happening.
Really?
And there'll be like a host that's like, oh, so when did you get into like working crops? And the other voice is like, it's like an alien talking back to her. And of course, the host understands everything. This little crow's nest up here is one of the easiest places to find sort of the residential part of Batuu.
Excited.
Who am I looking for?
That's the puppeteer.